Hi, I'm Krista McKee, and welcome to Wandering Grey Bruce. Today we've headed out from Owen Sound, and we ended up in Oliphant. And with me today is Donna Stewart from Bruce Peninsula Boat Tours. Welcome.
Thank you.
Beautiful spot you have here.
Absolutely beautiful out here. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the sun's just nicely coming up, and I'd say it's, what, 70 degrees already? It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. So tell me a little bit about your business. Bruce Peninsula Boat Tours.
Yeah, we run boat tours in 2 locations. We tour in the fishing islands of Lake Huron, departing from Oliphant, and also in the Sava River, departing from the Sava River Public Boat Launch.
Ah, okay. So you have 2. Now, what type of boats do you have?
Like we use entirely pontoon boats, which came about because of the waters here. The water levels really fluctuate in Oliphant and in this area, and it's very rocky, so we need a really shallow draft. And a lot of people here use pontoon boats, and so do we, and we will likely always use pontoon boats.
Wow. Now, you say it's rocky. I never in a million years thought this side, we see sand beach when we drive along the Shoreline Boulevard here. We don't see rocks.
Yeah, so it's very rocky. This series of islands, there's about 70 islands that go from Chiefs Point in Sable Beach up to Stokes Bay.
Right. Okay.
And we tour just in the Oliphant Little Red Bay area, but it has always been a place of shelter for boats for hundreds of years that have gone up this highway of Lake Huron, and transportation routes for fur traders and fishermen and settlers and all kinds of people that traveled this route. And it's a place of shelter, but boy, they had to be pretty good mariners to come in here because there's a lot of rocky shoals. So for us, every spring is a new reveal. Where are the rocks compared to the depth this year? You know, because the water levels do fluctuate, and of course, as you know, we're approaching our all-time high again.
Yes,
the last time was 1986, but as boaters, we love it.
No doubt. Because, yeah, as you can see behind us, the water level is up significantly, where last year and the previous year before, people were driving along here because there was no water.
Right, and which is not a good thing for the lake bed.
No, it's not.
Obviously, and it spreads invasive species and things like that. However, yeah, it's very challenging, though, for people to get to their properties and things like that when there's a lot of challenges around the fluctuating water levels. But it's great for the fens. We have beautiful coastal fens here, which is a type of wetland that are very unique, and these fens are unique among fens because of the composition of the fen, because of the type of rock that we have on the Bruce Peninsula. So that seeps into the groundwater and changes the composition of the nutrients in the fens here. So it's very, very beautiful. And on our tours in both of our locations, we provide a guided tour that tells about the history and geography and coastal environments of the area. Here we tour around the islands. We do not get off the boats.
Oh, okay.
In the Sava River, we tour from the mouth of the Sava River up to the Sava Falls and back down to the river mouth and back to our departure location. And there again, we're sharing a lot of history. The Sava Falls was downtown Sava in the mid-1800s. That's where
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's where the community began.
Which makes sense because mills, etc., were always around water at a falls location. Yeah.
Exactly, and there was also a power plant there, provided the first power that went to the town of Wyerton. And so there's a lot of rich history in our area that is worth talking about and celebrating, and we're really happy to be a part of that.
Wow.
This is the traditional territory of Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, and in both locations we talk about their present here and continued presence here, and a lot of the history.
Wonderful,
yeah.
Wonderful. And you have no problems navigating around through the mouth of the Sable River? Because I know at one point there was a lot of sand buildup there, and there was concerns.
Yes, at this time the water's nice and high, and we can get around. There's a flat rock that everyone knows in the middle of the river that there's a couple of spots that we have to be very careful in, but right now we're really good.
Okay, yeah, so that's your marker, per se, really. The flat rock would be a marker.
Yeah, right now everything's fine.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so we do guided tours, we do boat rides, In Sava, we do a 1-hour boat ride just for people who, likely people that they've never been on a boat, perhaps.
Yes.
And they just want to experience that. And, you know, they're immersing themselves in that experience and maybe can't fully digest all the history yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have one boat down there that's a 12-passenger.
Okay.
We run public guided tours, private tours. We do boat rides. We do snorkeling tours and sunset cruises.
Wonderful. Now, what is your webpage? The name of your webpage?
Bruce Peninsula Boat Tours.com.
.com. And if they wanted to phone and maybe get a little more information, somewhat like what I did, because it was actually Darlene, our producer, that found you, and we're going to try some snorkeling, which I cannot tell a lie. I'm actually shaking in my boots because I have never snorkeled before. So I'm kind of excited, but scared skinny in a sense as well.
You'll be a mermaid.
Ah.
You'll be a mermaid
Oh,
by
my
the end
goodness.
by the end of the trip.
Yeah, by the end of the trip.
Because mermaids have more fun.
Yeah, oh, do they? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so what is your phone number in case someone did need some more information?
Our phone number is 519-372-6309. All of our tours need to be booked in advance.
Ah, that's good to know.
So you
Good
go to our
know.
website, and if you can't book on there, it'll often say call us. And that means you need to call us and book. You can't just walk up to the boats.
Okay, so going snorkeling later in this segment, what do I expect here? Like, what's going to happen? Do I wear a suit, or take me through it so you can kind of calm my nerves a bit?
If you're coming for a snorkeling tour, you should wear your bathing suit under your clothes.
Okay, we got that taken care of.
We provide the snorkel and the mask and the fins. The water here is warm and compared to Georgian Bay, for example.
Yes.
So you most likely do not need a wetsuit. We haven't worn wetsuits all season.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And some people might prefer a shorty, but not right now. It's plenty warm right now.
Okay.
And she says.
I really like bathtub temperature water, or like
Okay.
shower water, right?
Okay, so there's a feeling of freshness when you
Oh,
first get in.
freshness
but
is what we'll
within
call it.
within
Okay.
5 to 10 minutes, you'll go, the water is really nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
you will.
I'll take you up on that.
It's
Yeah.
good. So
Okay.
we'll take you to a spot where we just sort of make sure you're okay and how you're doing, and then we will head out to some other locations. We will visit some spots that have beautiful rock formations around the islands.
Really?
And
Okay.
and some underwater rock formations, and then we'll go to a couple of shipwrecks.
Really?
So this was a place of shelter. So a lot of places a lot of boats came in here,
Right.
and some never left.
Wow. See, now I never heard that there actually were shipwrecks out here.
Yes,
you
there are.
hear so much about Tomori
Yes.
and diving and looking at the shipwrecks there, but never here. You know, there was the one that they found on the Southampton beach there a few years ago, but that's really interesting.
So they're in
that there's something here.
They're in fairly shallow water. They're not. The water here is much warmer than Georgian Bay, so they're not preserved as well as the ones that you see in Tobermory. But they're still a barrel of fun, and we really enjoyed it. We've snorkeled over those with our children for years.
Wow.
And a lot of the locals certainly know where they are and have enjoyed them. So they're. And they have wonderful stories with them.
No doubt. Yeah.
They have
no
wonderful
doubt.
stories about the people that sailed them and what happened.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that you offered snorkeling until Darlene had found you on the website, and you make reference to snorkeling in the Caribbean. So you've experienced snorkeling in the Caribbean?
Yes,
Maybe? Yes,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So-
We get the beautiful color of water out here because of the sand, and on some days, it's spectacular. When the sun is just right, you'll swear you're transported.
Wow.
It's beautiful here, and it's very precious and in need of protection.
Right.
It's we have a lot of rare species that still survive here.
Yes.
And species that are at risk, and they have the habitat that they need here still.
Yes.
And we really want to make sure it remains that way.
Yeah, definitely, because we are very fortunate to be here on the Bruce Peninsula and
Yeah.
share in a very soft footprint.
Right.
Being
So
here.
we provide very small group experiences. We will We use small boats partially because of the environment that we're in, and we need a shallow draft, but also we enjoy that. We have a lot of fun. We have a small group. It gives us an opportunity to increase awareness about the beauty of the Bruce Peninsula. And yeah, my apologies.
No, that's
somebody
no
on a boat.
You are a very busy lady. It's hard to get a hold of you. I know that you've taken time out of your schedule today so that we could talk with, and you could talk about your business on Rogers TV, which is fabulous. One thing that when we first arrived here, we had an egret in the background, and we had mallards floating about here as well. I see there's a little bit of purple loosestrife here, which I'm glad to see that it hasn't invaded as an invasive species that you talked about, but you do have a little bit of Phragmites here that...
We have more than a little bit.
Yeah.
This is purple loosestrife is child's play in comparison to Phragmites australis. The community has really rallied, and there's a lot going on in our community to remove the Phragmites. There's a group of islanders. They call themselves the Oliphant Fishing Islands Phragmites Group.
Oh, okay.
They've put in thousands of volunteer hours already. We have funding also from the Wyerton Rotary Club. Has made a large donation to the Bruce Peninsula Biosphere Association, who is also going to be conducting a day of cutting here this year. So the community itself, the Oliphant Campers Association and the Fishing Islands Community Phragmites Group have fundraised for 3 days of bringing an amphibious cutter here.
Oh,
and
fabulous.
The Wyerton Rotary Club has brought, is funding a
I'm sorry. A white egret just flew by. But yeah, I'm sorry. I've interrupted your train of thought.
That's okay.
But yeah, the Rotary Club has really stepped in, and
that's
fabulous.
As have many others. There's quite a collaborative effort going on in the area, which is wonderful to see because it's been here for about 20 years that it's been getting established.
Right. So you've got an uphill battle, which you'll have the equipment, which is wonderful.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful, it's a beautiful place. We're also on a migratory bird route.
Yes.
So we run birding tours in May and June.
Oh, wonderful.
And that are dedicated birding tours, and we often bring guest speakers aboard our boats to do specialty tours. So for example, we've had Doug Pedwell, who is a well-known local birder.
Yes.
And he comes on board and guides for us, for example, for birding the fishing islands with Doug Pedwell. We call that one.
Wonderful.
We have a lot of specialty tours, such as the marine heritage of the historic Saugeen Métis, and Jenna McGuire from that organization comes from the historic Saugeen Métis organization. Comes on board, and she's a wonderful speaker. She comes on board this summer. We have underwater sketching.
Oh, wow. You have tons of things on your agenda. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we have.
So we'll take a short break, and I think we're going to head down to the dock in our next venture, and we'll see how we make out and if my nerves handle it. So stay tuned to Wandering Grey Bruce. Welcome back to Wandering Grey Bruce. We are out here on the boat, and my toenails are curled, I have to say, but fabulous ride out here. You are a wonderful captain, absolute captain. But one thing that I noticed was the amount of Phragmites that we went by. It was almost as if we were in the Everglades.
Yeah.
It's kind of daunting.
It's very concerning.
Yeah, anyway, but the amount of hurdles and pylon type things that we went by. Please explain, because I'm not a water person.
You notice that we're going in and around many buoys.
Many,
and
yes.
that is because of rocky shoals and rocks. And
So those rocks were only so far from the propeller of the boat, probably. That's
Correct.
why these boys are out floating around.
Correct. You need to know
guiding
the
us.
area to boat here. Correct.
Yeah, so definitely someone from Owen Sound shouldn't just come here and launch their boat and decide to come out and find all these wonderful treasures. They should have a guide, such as Donna.
Yeah.
And one thing that we didn't talk about was the idea of gift certificates and things like that are a great idea because so far the experience has been wonderful.
Yes,
It's not bumpy, rocky. It's wonderful out here.
Pontoon boats are very stable, comfortable boats, so it's even easy for people with mobility issues to come out with us and still be in a small group situation. They don't have to get down into a boat that has a V hull. It's very comfortable. So we have a lot of people that come on board with walkers. canes.
Wonderful. Wonderful, yeah. Now the history, you were saying as we came out here, it being a fishing area back in the 1800s with...
Well, always, forever.
Right.
As these were the fishing islands of the indigenous people, so they have fished here forever. And of course, they used very sustainable methods in the way they fished.
Right.
And when we came in the middle 1800s to this area, there was a lot of fishing stations in this area. There's a lot of history here.
Right.
And a lot of fishing went on. And,
Right.
and fish were taken in vast quantities that was not sustainable.
Yeah, now you said fishing stations, so hence fishing islands, right? So a lot of these islands had different stations on them where
Yes, they did.
fish was harvested.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
There was a lot that went on here. There was white people, indigenous people, Métis, Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. They all fished here, and Métis people were coopers and net menders. There was a lot of different skills that went into
Yes.
fishing and packing those fish in barrels, salted barrels,
Right,
and
yep.
sending them to market. So
Right.
there was a lot that happened. Unfortunately, too much fishing took place, and too much was taken at once, and it really affected the fish stocks in the middle 1800s.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's a lot of other things that we share on our tours.
Yes.
We share stories of living here as locals and the kind of way of life we have in the islands. It's a cottage community where people have come here for generations, and often those cottages are passed on within the family. There's very few that are not privately owned at this point. There are some that are owned by First Nations, and there are a few that are owned by the Conservation Authority, but not very many.
Yeah, I think they have 3 fishing islands, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's interesting to see that it's like a maze once you get out here. You kind of have your bearings when you're on land, but then when you get out here, I'm totally lost.
Yes.
Because there are so many islands out here that you go around, and I don't know what really qualifies for an island, like, because there's spots of shrubbery that are sticking out of the water, and other spots there is a cottage and a docking system, and it's interesting.
It is, and that changes with water levels. It all looks different again.
No doubt.
Some places become connected when the water's low,
Right, yes.
and then there are separate islands
Then they
when the
disappear.
water is high.
Right. And
Correct.
so you also mentioned there's a heronry out here somewhere on one of these islands as well.
There's a heron rookery, and there's colonial nesting sites. We visit those on our guided tours. We never get off the boat.
Right, yeah.
We keep a good distance, and we don't get off the boat. But in the spring, it's amazing. In May and June.
Wow.
If you're an
Yeah.
avid birder, it's a wonderful sight to see.
It would be, yeah.
And there's a lot of action out here. It's
Wow.
fun.
So now we're going to get ready to kind of, what is it, the next step for me? So I'm kind of jumping in because I'm a little anxious. So we're going to do some snorkeling here, and you've anchored on a sandy point because when we first pulled in, there was some flat rock, which isn't ideal for an anchor, which I'm good we're anchored in the sandy part. And we're looking at one of the islands here that has a really neat rock formation. So we're going to get suited up with flippers, something to go over my glasses.
We're going to find you a pair of fins and a snorkel that fits, snorkel and mask that fits you well. You are a swimmer already, so we're going to give you a dive vest, which
Okay.
helps add a little buoyancy and are very comfortable for snorkeling.
Okay.
If you were not a strong swimmer, we would ask first of all that you know how to swim and
Right.
that you'd be very comfortable in the water. If you're not a strong swimmer or you're a child, we would make sure you were in a life jacket.
Yeah, and you do have a lifeguard certified person on board here as well.
We do.
And she's going to be my girl that's coming with me, which is fabulous.
We
Yes.
do. She's our snorkel guide, and she also happens to be certified. And may I also mention that this particular lifeguard, who is the first lifeguard we hired this year, this particular lifeguard happens to be the world champion in rope throwing.
Oh, wow.
Which
You're
is
so quiet. I would have never known.
You would never know that this woman can take a rope and throw it to a victim and pull them in like this in
wow.
how many seconds?
11 seconds.
How far?
12 and a half meters. Oh my gosh.
You need to interview her. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. That's a whole new segment of a show on throwing. So you're throwing the donuts, I'm assuming, out to...
rope.
Just the rope.
A
Okay.
rope, like
wow.
a safety rope.
So she's going to be my guide.
She's going to be
and
your
she's
guide.
Gonna be
She's
my
going to help you
instructor.
to learn how to clear your mask and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And there we go.
I'm excited.
We're
so
excited. We're ready to go.
I think so. So we're. I think we're also going to use a GoPro so our viewers can get a little bit of underwater amusement. Not of me. Hopefully, it will be. Our guide is going to be wearing a GoPro, so it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with you.